Welcome to Central News, I'm Hilary Entwistle. In today's news, March is New Zealand Book Month, and there are many events happening around our regions to celebrate our local authors' talents. As part of this year's Book Month, some famous faces are promoting their favourite books as part of this year's theme, Books Change Lives. Tracy Robertson from Community Outreach Librarians says they have around 5 ambassadors this year, including Sir Peter Jackson.
This year they have Sir Peter Jackson, Annabelle Langbein, Dom Harvey, Oscar Kitely and Ben and Libby off the block. They're the ambassadors this year for New Zealand Book Month.
Yesterday, a state of drought was officially declared in the Bay of Plenty in Waikato. The Minister of Primary Industries, Nathan Guy, made the announcement yesterday declaring a drought in the Bay of Plenty, Hawke's Bay, Waikato and South Auckland areas. The Minister says this is the recognition that farmers across the North Island are facing extremely difficult conditions and follows on from the announcement of drought in Northland last week. The declaration of a medium-scale event means extra government funding is available to rural support trusts. There will also be rural assistance payments available from work and income through the Ministry of Social Development. Almost 40 people have breached the exclusion zone around the Rena wreck since the start of the year. Bay of Plenty Regional Council reports 39 boats have breached the 2 nautical mile exclusion zone around the wreck at Astrolabe Reef since January the 1st. Bay of Plenty Regional Council's Maritime Operations Manager Ruben Fraser says there have been an increased number of exclusion zone breaches by both privately owned and commercially operated vessels. He says they urge people to remember that unless they have the express permission of the Harbour Master, then they can't enter the restricted area and they may be fined for breaching that. Te Puna Oranga General Manager Dietri Tamatea says the placing of a tūpeka kore Kawanata in Waikato's District Health Board's public health offices in central Hamilton shows support for a tobacco-free environment is gaining strong momentum. A Kawanata was placed on the population health offices in the Hugh Monckton building on Wednesday, February the 27th. That means no tobacco products are allowed on level 5 and the offices are now tūpeka kore. The process was led out by Te Puna Oranga, that's Waikato DHB's Māori Health Service, in conjunction with population health staff. Lifeguards training for this week's National Championships at the Mount Mauganui's main Mount Beach are facing a new challenge as they attempt to train in tonnes of sea lettuce. Tauranga City Council contractors have collected more than 160 tonnes of the smelly green sludge in the last 2 days ahead of tomorrow's New Zealand Surf Life-Saving Championships. Contractors began the clean-up on Monday night after waves dumped tonnes of sea lettuce on the main beach on Sunday. On Monday night, a total of 120 tonnes was removed from the shore. Last night, contractors returned to collect an additional 40 tonnes. Now for our region's weather. Hamilton, your Friday is fine with light winds. Your expected high is 28 and an overnight low of 13. Tauranga, your Friday will be fine with light winds. Your expected high is 26 and an overnight low of 16. Just ahead, big trucks and lots of heavy machinery. Welcome to Central News on TV Central. The Transport and Heavy Equipment Expo is on this week until Saturday, so just in case a shiny piece of machinery catches your eye, Amy caught up with a finance broker who will be present at the expo.
Crediflex started in 2004. Originally we had 7 partners that kicked the business off. We've grown that now to 16 partners around the country. We've got solid representation in North Island and we've got 2 partners in the South Island. The core business is primary industry. Our main focus is plant equipment finance, but we will also do all other finance right down to mortgages, car loans, things like that as well. But the core base of the business is around primary industry, which is transport, earth moving, forestry and agriculture.
Now, what is your role within this company?
My role in the company, I'm a director of the business, but as well as that I'm an active partner, so I'm out like all our other partners with a client base, lending funds to them on a daily basis. I overview the partners to make sure they're operating well, and the rest of my time is spent on doing my own, looking after my own client base, looking after their needs and just working like everyone else in the business.
And who do you cater for?
Our main market is business to business clients. We do a small amount of personal lending, but that's generally driven from a referral or a relationship that we already hold. It could be a family member or staff. So yeah, we're there for all businesses in all sectors, and we're happy to talk to anybody in the line of business and look at their financial needs.
So tell me, does the current economic environment affect the ability to borrow money?
Yeah, it definitely does. The banks and everybody has tightened up their lending policy. We're seeing a lot of consolidation of debt, people rearranging the business to suit the market. Definitely the business volumes have dropped. I mean, that's right across all media, you can see that. So I think the purpose of coming to a broker has become more important. If you think of what a broker does, we effectively present a CV for the business to the bank. So they're getting the best possible picture of what state the business is in and what they want to achieve. So that's really the big drive with the economic climate is some businesses have got some bad trading because the last few years have been pretty tough. So our job is to present that in the light to the bank that they can see that the business is back on track, and we'll get through the next 12, 14 months, you know.
So why would people head to an independent finance broker rather than heading straight to the bank to discuss finance options?
A lot of people come to a broker because they don't feel confident to go to the bank, to present the business to the bank. It's up to us to present the best business case to the bank on that business. We do the whole relationship with the bank. The client doesn't meet the underwriter. It's all done by us. So they can carry on working in their business, doing what they do on a daily basis, and leave the running around and getting all of the information to get to the bank. They can leave it to us. So after they've met with us, the next thing they should get from us is an approval. So it saves them time.
Now, Crediflex will be present at the Transport and Heavy Equipment Expo. So tell me, what services will you be offering?
Our guys will be there at the expo just walking around, meeting and greeting people. It's a great opportunity to get a large part of your client base in one place. And it's really just an open forum for discussion and catch up with people. Generally the decision to purchase has been made long before the expo, so hopefully we've got the funding in place to do that, but it's really just an opportunity to meet them on their territory and just discuss business with them on a friendly basis.
And how can members of the public locate your team at the expo?
Our team will be wearing branded shirts. They're just going to be wandering around. We're not carrying a site. We think it's more beneficial to actually move with everybody else. So it's just a case, anyone can come up and tap them on the shoulder and have a chat.
So if something shiny caught someone's eye at the expo, what would the process be to gain finance?
The process would be arrange a meeting with one of our partners. They'd sit down and go through the requirements, get an understanding of what the client wants to do, and once they've got all the information together, package it up and they'd put it to the appropriate lender.
And do people need to prepare any paperwork before coming to see your team?
I think it's important that people get the basics together when they meet with the broker. It saves them time to meet with us up front. Ideally bring their latest set of financials and have a bit of an understanding of what they want to present to us rather than starting from scratch. Most of our partners will go and meet them at their place of business or at home.
Whereabouts are you located in our region?
We've got offices in Hamilton, Rotorua and Tauranga. Across the central area we've got Taupo as well. So, but in the overall North Island we've got most of the main centres covered: Hawke's Bay, Manawatu, Wairarapa, Wellington, Kapiti, yeah. So.
And have you got a website?
Yes, we have got a website. It's just crediflex.co.nz.
So if you are in the industry, make sure you check out the Transport and Heavy Machinery Expo at the Mystery Creek Event Centre this week. Coming up, another expo in Hamilton. Welcome back. Yesterday, the Waikato Community Funding Expo was held at the Hamilton Gardens. So Amy went along to check out what was on offer.
Hi Andy, can you tell me what your event today is about?
Today is a funding expo which is designed to give groups a range of information and tools to help them be successful in gaining funding for their organisation, so they can come and talk directly to funders and also find out what they need to know in terms of grant criteria.
And what is your role within this event?
I'm a manager of Well Energy Trust, which is one of the organisers, alongside a range of community funders from the Waikato region. So we're just all part of the committee that put it together, really.
So what workshops will be provided here?
We've got a big range this year. It's all very topical stuff that's of interest at the moment. So we've got workshops on social media, on valuing volunteers, creative thinking, fundraising tips, and also preventing fraud, which could be quite interesting. And just general how to fill out grant applications. They're all practical tools.
And what benefits will this bring to those who do attend?
Well, we'll hope it'll equip them with some really practical tools, so rather than just listening, they'll be able to ask questions and get some information that they can take away and use. Also, they get to talk directly to the funders, and it's often quite difficult to get around all of them at the same time, and it's a great networking opportunity as well, because you've got groups from all over the region coming in that may or may not get to see each other on a daily basis. So.
How many people are you expecting to turn up today?
It does tend to vary. I would estimate anywhere from 500 to 1,500, and because they're not all here at one time, they come and go during the day, because we repeat the workshops in the morning and the afternoon, and they tend to come and take the information away. It gets quite busy around lunchtime.
And what type of stalls are getting set up here at the moment?
Yes, so all community funders and organisations that support the community sector. So there's a lot of regional funders here, councils, capacity building organisations, as well as some of the national organisations that support communities like Charities Commission, Fundraising New Zealand.
Do you have plans to create another event similar to this in the future?
It's been running for quite a few years, usually on a biannual cycle, so I think we'll definitely look at doing it again in 2015.
And how have the events in the past been received?
Very, very good. We've always evaluated each event, so we get good feedback which helps to feed the next event. So there's quite a lot of information that we can use to make it better.
So how much time goes into organising each of these events?
Well, I think it's a pretty well-oiled machine. When you've got 7 odd organisations involved, we all take specific roles, so it's actually many hands make light work, as they say, so it's actually not too much of a task at all, really.
And who is the event sponsored by?
It's sponsored by all the funders involved, so Community Waikato, Trust Waikato, Debbie Bryant Trust, Well Energy Trust, Lion Foundation, Department of Internal Affairs, Hamilton City Council, and of course all the people presenting workshops are all doing that free of charge as well.
Hey Sue, now tell me, what is Prometheus?
So Prometheus is New Zealand's leading social lender. We specialise in providing finance for all sorts of social and environmental initiatives throughout New Zealand.
And I hear you're going to be presenting a workshop today. Can you tell me a bit about that?
Yeah, so I'm presenting a workshop today about all about social enterprise, what is social enterprise, and then a little bit about how you might finance, so what sort of skills you need for social enterprise and how you might finance at some initiative, if that's what you want to do.
Hi Christina, now can you tell me about Hamilton City Council's role within this event?
Well, we're wearing several hats, but the first part, we are one of many collaborators on putting this event together for planning and steering and just general organizational, not chaos, but hopefully moving forward. And we also, like many other funders here, have a stall here today where we're talking about our grants that are presently open. Gosh, we've got about $330,000 worth of grants that are now open for community well-being, Maori Pacific Project Fund, and Hamilton Arts and Culture Grant. So we're here to inform people about that as well.
And what other information will be available at your stall today?
Well, we also have our Settlers Directory that we have that we put out every year that has loads of information for community groups about everything that's going on in Hamilton City, from doctors and doctors, religious organizations, everything else like that. That's really helpful to people who are new to New Zealand, but also people who are new to Hamilton.
So how much planning goes into the organisation of these events?
Well, it was more organized than it felt at the time, but there were a whole series of planning meetings to set the venue, to ensure that we had the commitment from all the stall holders, and then just making sure that we had the workshops set up that were pertinent and really were of interest to the local community.
Looks like a great day was had by all. Just ahead, more on the Heavy Transport Expo. If you have just joined us, welcome to Central News. If you are in the industry and operate heavy vehicles, then the New Zealand Transport Agency seminar is not to be missed. David Perks tells us more.
Okay, I'm the Regional Manager for the Midland area, which is the Waikato Bay of Plenty. I work for the Access and Use Group, and what we do is we manage the regulations under which commercial transport operators work, and that also includes the warrant of fitnesses, certificate of fitnesses and driver licensing.
Now, the New Zealand Transport Agency will have a huge presence over the Expo over the next couple of days. So can you tell me what services you'll be offering?
The transport operators, there's a range of legislation under which they operate, and so what we're trying to do is, because we manage it on behalf of the government, we want to be there to be able to provide them advice and information on how they can comply in a more cost-effective manner.
And what is the safe system approach that you'll be focusing on at the Expo?
Okay, so what happened is the government has a strategy called Safer Journeys, and that's their road safety strategy from 2010 to 2020, and it's based on the principles of a safer system. And there's 4 principles involved, which is that the body can only stand certain crash forces, that people make mistakes when driving, but they shouldn't actually have to pay for it with their lives, that everyone has a responsibility to make sure the road system is safe, and that we treat the system as a whole, not individual parts. So by that I mean we want safe speeds, we want safe vehicles, we want safe road users, and we want safe roads and roadsides.
So can you tell us a bit about the seminars?
Okay, so we're offering some seminars when we're at Mystery Creek, and so what we're doing is we have a main seminar on the Friday, 1:30 to 3:30, where we're talking about logbooks, work time rules and our operator rating system. So they're all legislation under which transport operators manage their business.
So where at the Expo will these seminars be held?
So there's a main stage which will be doing those seminars. We also are doing some other seminars which are based at the Tracking Magazine stand, and they are on at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock, and they're a cut down version of the main seminar we're doing, just so if people can't spend the time they can hear those.
And will these other seminars have similar information?
Yes, it'll involve similar information, but as I say, those smaller seminars will have it condensed.
And how much does it cost?
So the seminars are free. We want to try and encourage people to go along. There's no cost to them, and we'll be available after the seminars to actually answer questions should there be anything that comes out of the seminar which you don't have an opportunity of exploring while we're speaking.
So will there be a chance for people to discuss things further with your team at the Expo?
Yes, certainly. So we've got stands E11 and EX11 and EX12 at the Expo. We'll have staff there during the whole of the Expo, and as I say, we're actually encouraging people to come and talk to us, so the more people the better, and any question they've got in terms of transport, only too happy to answer.
Why do you think it is important for those in the industry to attend such an event?
I think part of it is because they don't get that opportunity of maybe exploring concerns they have about the transport legislation, being able to ask questions in a non-confrontational way, and being able to get the information they need to manage their business and understand it from their perspective, being able to tailor our responses to their needs, and so that face-to-face discussion is really important. Where
else will you be present at the Expo?
So Roadmaster Trailers have kindly lent us one of their trailers where we can do a display about the legal requirements for trailers, and also the legal requirements in terms of how you actually tie down your load. So we'll have staff that are actually present at that site. So if you have a question about what you can and can't do in terms of different types of trailers, we can be there and we can actually point out on the trailer the certain requirements you have to meet. So it's sort of a more visual way of being able to explain things.
Can you tell us a bit about the operator rating system?
Okay, so the operator rating system was something quite new for us. It gathers information from 3 sources, which is certificate of fitness, where you take your heavy vehicle in and get it warranted. Roadside inspections, where you have police or some authorised agency that stops you, looks at your vehicle and looks at any faults it has. And the third one is offences, like speeding offences, any offence that the police might write out a ticket for. And all of that information is gathered together in one place into one database. And what it does is it looks at the data, it weights it, and by that gives it a higher rating to a safety-based offence rather than any other offence. And then it comes out with what's called a star rating. So the company is rated on either 5 to 1, and 1 being bad, 5 being good. And so it lets operators understand how the company operates in comparison to other companies of a similar size or similar type.
And is there a way that viewers can find out more information on this?
Yeah, so what happens is we actually send those ratings out to the individual companies, and I suppose what I should have said is really a way of rating their safety. So I mean, what we're looking at is safety as the main component of that, and so it lets them understand how good they are.
Don't forget, there are still 2 more days of the Transport and Heavy Equipment Expo to go. So if you are in the industry, head on down to the Mystery Creek Event Centre. That is the news for today. We really want you to be involved, so like us on Facebook and let us know your views. If you have news, including your own video and photos, go to our website and hit upload. Thanks for joining us. I will be back tomorrow night with more guests from in and around the regions. I'm Hilary Entwistle. Have a lovely evening.
This has been an Alpha Media production, a division of Television Media Group.
Supporting local content so you can see more of New Zealand on air.